Hey there, are you ready to play Among Us Stablecoins Edition? All right, let's do it. Which one of these four is the odd one out? USDC, USDT, DAI, or BUSD? Now, if your answer is DAI, congrats, you're spot on. DAI is the only decentralized stablecoin among the four, and the rest are centralized. That said, DAI is only the tip of the decentralized stablecoins iceberg. So in this video, we'll be breaking down the iceberg to find out the other types of decentralized stablecoins, some examples, and how they work. But before that, what is a decentralized stablecoin? Well, unlike centralized stablecoins, which are usually backed by fiat or commodities like gold, oil, or real estate, decentralized stablecoins are algorithmic and not backed or controlled by any central authority. Also, because the money is on a publicly certified blockchain, all collateral backing is transparent to everybody. Now that said, there is more than one type of decentralized stablecoin, mainly differentiated by the mechanism that they use. So let's go over the four types of decentralized stablecoins. Okay, so let's start with over-collateralized stablecoins. As its name suggests, the stablecoins maintain their one-to-one peg against assets through over-collateralization. This means a higher value of cryptocurrency tokens is maintained as a reserve for issuing a lower value of stablecoins. Doing this helps to provide a buffer against price fluctuations. MakerDAO, the creators of the DAI stablecoin, pioneered this mechanism. Though DAI has been in the spotlight for the wrong reasons, especially since it has grown reliant on USDC, which makes up about half of its collateral backing to maintain its peg to the dollar. Okay, so let's take a look at a practical example of how this type of stablecoin works. So say John, a business owner, has some Ether and urgently needs some cash for his hotel business. However, John doesn't want to sell his ETH, so through MakerDAO, John deposits Ether or other accepted cryptocurrencies and borrows against the value of his deposits to receive newly generated DAI. John's collateral is held in a smart contract and can only be accessed after he clears the stablecoin debt. On the other hand, if John's underlying collateral, which in this case is ETH, drops in price and loses too much value, his collateral value can fall below the predetermined threshold. In this event, the smart contract can be closed, and John's collateral will be sold or liquidated by the stablecoin system. So this is one of the biggest risks associated with this mechanism. Also, some could argue that over-collateralized stablecoins are not as capital efficient, since John's collateral could be deployed more productively elsewhere instead of being locked up. So this has led to more innovations like algorithmic stablecoins. So unlike over-collateralized stablecoins, algorithmic stablecoins are not actually backed by anything. Instead, they operate through a dual token model. The first, the stablecoin, is pegged to a fiat currency, while the second token, usually the native token, is designed to absorb the volatility of the stablecoin. So let's say the stablecoin is pegged to $1. When one stablecoin is minted, $1 worth of the second token is burned. Conversely, when one stablecoin is burned, $1 worth of the second token is minted. So to better understand how this mechanism works and its drawbacks, let's take a look at how USDC, formerly known as UST, work together with Luna. If, say, we wanted to mint UST, the Terra protocol would have to burn Luna. Fundamentally, this would reduce Luna's supply and drive up the price. The same works in reverse. To mint Luna, we would burn UST stablecoins, and supposedly the price of UST would go up too. UST also incentivizes arbitrage to maintain its stablecoins equilibrium. Arbitrageurs, traders who profit from small price changes, help to keep the price of UST in check by selling Luna for UST when the price of UST is below $1 and buying Luna when UST is worth more than $1. For instance, if USD slipped to say 90 cents, traders would buy a bunch at that price and sell it for $1 of Luna, making 10 cents in profit for every UST they arbitrage. In doing so, UST supply would be reduced and therefore the price would ideally go back up. However, this mechanism has historically not been sustainable since the mechanism is dependent on consistent demand being there for the stablecoin. Once that disappears, they go into a so-called death spiral where the mechanism collapses the stablecoin and its token. UST and Titan are some of the most popular stablecoins that use this mechanism and crashed. Okay, so then let's move on to the third type of decentralized stablecoin, which is the fractional algorithmic stablecoins. So this type tries to maintain its peg by being partially backed by collateral like fiat currency and having an algorithm that modifies the stablecoin supply as needed. A collateral ratio is adjusted depending on the market conditions, such that it is higher in more adverse market conditions and lower in preferable market conditions. So this mechanism was pioneered by Frax. So let's take a practical example of how the stablecoin is minted and how its peg is maintained. Frax USD can be minted by supplying collateral tokens like USDC and the protocol's native token, FXS. For instance, a 50% collateral ratio means that we can mint $1 worth of Frax by providing 50 cents USDC and 50 cents worth of FXS. This also means for the same collateral ratio, we can redeem our USDC and FXS for every stablecoin we provide. To maintain its peg, for each Frax we mint, 50 cents of FXS is burnt. This means that by minting more Frax, the circulating quantity of FXS is reduced. Say if the collateralization ratio is lower to 40%, that means every $1 of Frax will be backed by 40 cents USDC and 60 cents FXS. This means more FXS will be burnt for every dollar of Frax minted. Now, ideally, more Frax tokens are supposed to be minted than redeemed, resulting in substantial amounts of FXS being burnt and removed from circulation. Any deviation from the price of $1 for Frax can be quickly capitalized by arbitrageurs, which in turn will return and maintain the peg. The protocol can also adjust the collateral ratio accordingly. During a market downturn, for instance, the collateral ratio can be increased to adjust for higher backing, improving market confidence in Frax. Okay, so then the fourth type of decentralized stablecoins on our list is non-pegged stablecoins. Unlike the other types that we've looked at, these stablecoins are not pegged one-to-one to any fiat currency, and at first glance are somewhat counterintuitive. So think of it like the US dollar, which is not pegged to anything, but is still widely considered a stable asset. Though rare, the mechanism is used by stablecoins such as RAI. The stablecoin only uses ETH as collateral and has a redemption price and market price. The latter describes RAI's price on secondary markets, while the former describes the price that the protocol wants RAI to have in the secondary market. There's also a redemption rate, which is adjusted algorithmically to dampen volatility rather than peg the asset to a certain price. So these are some of the mechanisms that have been implemented in an attempt to decentralize stablecoins, since currently the most popular and widely adopted stablecoins are centralized. Decentralized stablecoins still have a long way to go before they can catch up to their centralized counterparts, as there are still a lot of factors that can easily influence their value and cause huge financial losses. So, as always, DYOR and ensure that you fully understand the risks associated with these types of stablecoins. So anyway, what do you think of decentralized stablecoins? Will they ever catch up to centralized ones? Well, let us know in the comments. Also, remember to like, subscribe, and follow us on all our socials for future alpha. See ya.